When the Chinese Communist Party sailed the Shandong aircraft carrier into the waters off the eastern coast of Taiwan as part of a military exercise, it was primarily a political show. It may take many years for the CCP to master this capability. According to a Reuters report, 4 military attaches stationed abroad and 6 defense analysts familiar with regional naval deployments said that the CCP may need more than a decade to establish a credible aircraft carrier threat in areas far from China's coast. These experts said that Beijing's move was a propaganda display, and the CCP's aircraft carrier is more like a propaganda tool. They also questioned the value of the CCP's aircraft carrier in a Taiwan Strait conflict and whether the CCP could protect these ships in long-range missions in the Pacific and Indian Oceans. The report also noted that after reviewing hundreds of articles in Chinese journals, Reuters found that Chinese military analysts are aware of the flaws in the CCP's aircraft carrier. 8 of the experts said that the CCP's aircraft carrier is still in training mode. Some analysts said that the ability to take off and land aircraft at night and in bad weather is crucial for routine carrier operations at sea, but the CCP's aircraft carrier's capability in this area is still imperfect. Some experts said that due to the CCP's Navy's insufficient anti-submarine warfare capability, the CCP's aircraft carrier is vulnerable to missile and submarine attacks in a conflict. Last month, the Shandong aircraft carrier appeared in the waters off eastern Taiwan for simulated strikes, which surprised some analysts because at least in the short term, China would not be able to defend the carrier in the event of a conflict with the United States and its allies in the Western Pacific. Trevor Hollingsby, a former British naval intelligence analyst, said, "Unlike other parts of their military modernization, their deployment of carriers is still a bit of a political show. Carrier warfare is extremely complicated in China. The CCP must solve this problem themselves. They still have a long way to go." Retired Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force Lieutenant General Yoji Koda also said, "The CCP's deployment of the Shandong is clearly a symbol of political anger towards US-Taiwan relations." He added that in the event of a battle, the Shandong would be a very good target for the US-Japan military, and they would sink it right from the beginning. A research report published by the U.S. Congressional Research Service in December also pointed out that China would use the carrier to project power without directly confronting the U.S. military and influence or intimidate foreign observers. According to military attachés, sometimes Chinese carrier pilots have to rely on land-based airports to take off and land in order to conduct additional air cover and surveillance. Regional security expert Riramama from Tohoku Gakuin University examined tracking data from Japan's Ministry of Defense and stated that despite the Liaoning and Shandong aircraft carriers sailing into the Western Pacific and approaching the U.S. base in Guam in recent months, they remain within the range of Chinese coastal airfields. The Liaoning is a refurbished former Soviet vessel that, like the domestically built Shandong, uses a ski jump to launch carrier-based aircraft, limiting the number and types of planes that can be carried. 10 experts stated that both carriers and the Type 055 cruiser can operate anti-submarine helicopters, but the carriers have not yet deployed airborne early warning aircraft and currently rely on land-based planes for support. According to reports from Chinese state media last month, Beijing is preparing to conduct sea trials for its next-generation aircraft carrier, the Fujian. The Fujian will use an electromagnetic catapult to launch planes. A report from the Pentagon stated that the ship could be deployed before 2024 and is expected to carry new J-15 jet fighters to replace existing models that foreign analysts believe are underpowered. Security analyst Colin Koh from Singapore's Institute of Defence and Strategic Studies commented that although the new Fuzhou-class carrier has more modern capabilities, it will still be just another testing platform for several years. Only when we see the next-generation carrier will China's design and the intentions of the People's Liberation Army Navy (PLAN) truly be confirmed, he said. A U.S. defense official also noted that while China has made progress in carrier development, it has not yet mastered operating under difficult conditions or protecting its vessels. Additionally, China has not yet demonstrated the role of carriers in a conflict. In the aircraft carrier field, the United States remains the most dominant country with 11 carrier battle groups covering the globe. In contrast, the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, can only use aircraft carriers in the Asian theater, along with submarines and anti-ship missiles in an attempt to control nearby seas. After reviewing dozens of publicly available Chinese defense journals, Reuters found that the Chinese military and government researchers also seem to be aware of these challenges. In an interview with the official PLA Daily last October, a CCP military officer admitted that there are many shortcomings in preparing for a war and that there is a gap between sailors' training levels and operational requirements. In an editorial in the Tank Armor Vehicles magazine, when mentioning the four major advantages of the People's Liberation Army, PLA, attacking Taiwan, the role of CCP aircraft carriers was not mentioned. Two other editorials in the same magazine pointed out that in the foreseeable future, CCP aircraft carriers are still in the initial stage. Similar articles in other publications outlined pilot recruitment and training issues, difficulties in resisting submarine attacks, and command problems. When on the sea, aircraft are almost always flying in the airspace over U.S. aircraft carriers, routinely operating fighter jets and reconnaissance planes, and establishing a protective barrier around the battle group. The key factor in being able to do this is the mastery of a decentralized command system, which is especially important in times of crisis. The United States has spent decades perfecting this system. Military analyst Alexander Neal of the Pacific Forum think tank in Hawaii said, "The sustained operation of aircraft carriers is the core of the U.S. military's absolute advantage.